F1 introduced a spending cap, and it made all teams more financially stable and investable in. Also maintains sporting competitiveness.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know enough about F1.
It's not competitive at all.
Okay, then. So Verstappen doesn't win every single race, does he not?
Yeah, I don't know enough
one thing.
One
thing I would say about that comment right there. Do the top clubs care, like how competitive it is? Like, are they not sitting there? Obviously, you care to maybe a certain degree, but as an owner of a football club, I want to win. I don't care how good these other guys are. I want to win the league that I'm in. I don't care if Man United are good. I don't care if Arsenal are good. I don't care if Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool. If I'm Man City owner, or if I'm a Liverpool owner, or whatever, I don't give two monkeys like what these guys are doing in terms of if they're going to be good enough to battle with the league. It's not like Bayern Munich are sitting there saying, "Oh man, I wish the Bundesliga was tougher, so we didn't keep winning the Bundesliga every single season." No, we all play sport. We've all played sport at some point in time. You want to win. You don't care how competitive everybody else is, because in your league and whatever it is that you do, you're just trying to win. Usain Bolt isn't worrying that he was beating the record and nobody else could catch him. He was just worried about him beating the record, winning consistently, doing his thing. So when we talk about this competitive stuff, I get it as a fan looking on the outside in, but sometimes I sit there and think, if I was an owner, and most people that you speak to, they don't like, that doesn't sound like a concern for them to be like, man, I wish, like you spoke about the pyramid a bit, and I kind of agree with you in terms of the pyramid of English football. I don't know if these top guys are sitting there thinking, man, I wish Leyton Orient would be a lot better than they are down there in League 1 and 2 so that they can help us in the future and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think anybody, the top clubs would really care in that kind of way.
But they would care because Man City are dominating the league. So imagine if you go to Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle, and tell them, how about we limit Man City's, for example, spending to be exactly like us, for example, or their salary cap. They would say, yeah, because it gives them more chance to win. That's why people want to be equal. It's not only about the top clubs. The top clubs within themselves, they want to be equal to have, because each owner want to win, but they can't win unless it's competitive between them. Because look, 5 leagues in 6 years.
Yeah, true.
It's not competitive for the others.
Do they want to win though? I've got to take you up on that comment. Do the owners of these clubs actually want to win, Mo? Does Man United
not all of them. I get your point, but also they want it to be competitive because it pumps more money. Okay.
No, what they want, they want it to be competitive and win stuff with the minimum outlay. That's what they want, because United's owners, the Glazers, Liverpool's as well, they're not serious. They're not serious owners in terms of they want to win. They're not. Otherwise, they would have invested more money. The Glazers won't be taking dividends. They won't be leaving the ground to rot. They won't be leaving the training ground. They'd be investing in the club. They'd be invested in proper structure at the club. They're investing properly into the manager and his support staff and the players. They're not. What they want to do, this is why they're coming at City, because City are now making them all look silly. And now you've got all these protests against the Glazers. If United had won a couple of Premier Leagues in the last 10 years, maybe like 4, and maybe another Champions League, there'd probably be some still Glazers out, but probably most people would just be saying, well, we're still winning. The fact is, they're not winning anything, and therefore they're looking at City saying they're making us like...
And that's where, Lewis, and that's where I agree with you, and it's why I like this FFP argument, or profit and sustainability. It's nuanced, and what I mean by that is, your owners do want to win, and your owners are willing to spend whatever possible. I still think there needs to be for instance, this is the way you could circumvent it. And if this was the case, and even though I want it to be competitive, I'd say this is fair. For however much, let's say, for instance, your owner pumps in so many billions, and your wage bill is, I don't fucking know, it's 1.3 billion a year because he's paying all the best players in the world dumb money. As long as he puts money into a bond somewhere that covers those wages until the end of the contract, and any debts you have are covered to the end, and the Premier League hold that money in an account somewhere, then let them spend what they want. Because then if your owner leaves, there's a big pot of money there to pay all that off and slowly downscale your squad. Like, for me, it's about balance here. I don't think owners should be able to just spend what they want, however they want, when they want, because there are not very many Sheikh Mansours. There'd be so many clubs that would go out of business. At the same time, there should be pressure on owners to actually invest. The fact that the Premier League have allowed the Glazers to own Man United anyway and do what they've done to our club, that should also be against the rules. You shouldn't have an owner that's not pumping money. Like, based on their net worth or based on the commitment or size of the club. The fact that Glazers haven't put 100 million you can put in every 3 years just for transfers. Our owners in 18 years have not put 1 penny into the football club. So I think both things, too much spending can be a problem. It can make you go bust in the end, but no investment, that should be just as much against the rules, in my opinion. Couldn't agree with you more. This year says a salary cap in the NFL, but still the best run. Listen, I get you. I don't like the way American sports does things. I don't like the idea that if you lose, you get all the best picks and that. I think if you're winning and you're successful, you should keep benefiting off of that. Like, I don't like the way the Americans do it, but that's just me. Bundesliga teams is partly owned by the fans.
Yeah, that's shocking.
51%.
That's shocking.
And look
people
just take that as an example, but look how competitive the league is. It's not competitive.
No one's investing into a club, spending billions of pounds to have 49% of the club and still get beat off Bayern Munich. So I can't believe actual people want this in this country. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Do you know what I think it comes down to, though, Lewis? It's like there aren't many Sheikh Mansours. There is not enough Sheikh Mansours in the world for all 120 professional football clubs in England to have one. That's the problem. There's not. So I think the way fans look at it as, for a lot of clubs, I think it's they want some fan ownership because they're more likely to get an owner that fucks them up than makes them like Man City. So they want something to protect them against that, I think.
Well, that's when the new owners come in. Don't they have them checks in it? So that's what you keep on speaking about the owners.
No, mate, no. You're right. You're right. But I think the reason the fans want it is because they don't trust the way the checks are done. Does that make sense? It's almost because
Listen, it's difficult in it because I get what you're saying. At the end of I'm coming from the point of I want other fans to experience the rise that I've experienced as a Manchester City fan. Like genuinely, I want people, but obviously there is the other side of that, which you are right in raising of. That has happened to other clubs, Portsmouth, for example, and it's destroyed other clubs. So it is a very fine balancing act. But what we can't remove that dream of someone coming into a club and saying, I'm going to renovate it, I'm going to increase the stadium, pump money in, and like Wrexham, you can't remove that.
But that's also it, though. Look how Wrexham are growing. Look at Brighton and where they are. Like, this is why I get where you're coming from. There are lots of small teams that have grown. Look where Bournemouth are. Look where Brentford are. These teams are minuscule. They are tiny in the grand scheme of things. To build a new stadium for Brentford costs less than an average top level Premier League player. Like I know it's millions. It's a lot of working class people like us, but they're tiny. Like I remember, like Fulham are another example. I remember being a kid going to watch Leyton Orient play. We used to get free season tickets at our school because it was right next to the ground. I remember Leyton Orient and Fulham playing each other all the time. And they're now in the Prem. Now, they haven't gone to the next level up, but they thought they would because they had Mohamed Al Fayed that bought them. Now, back in the day, that was a lot of money. Like, it's not anymore compared to these billionaires. But there's some super chats here. Evening, Terry. Everyone, Leeds United overspent in the early 2000s, and look where they are in football. This is very true. The Premier League won't find City guilty until Pep leaves. Listen, Mike, I love you, but I don't believe in those conspiracy theories personally. It's only 115 charges because they don't have access to City's books, so they don't know what to actually charge them for. Potentially, we have to wait again. That sort of stuff. I hear you, bro. Thanks for the super chat, but it's just speculation. I don't know anything about that. Do the FFP rules provide for the penalties? What is the source of the power pertaining to dishing out points deductions or relegating teams?
I think that may be what Mo was saying before, wasn't it, with the guidance? But I think they need to.
In Europe, is different. In Europe, like Inter, for example, we did kind of similar to Everton, and we had a limited Champions League squad for 2 years. So there are rules to it, right? In England, it's different than Europe, and there is a book somewhere you can find it. Yeah,
I think Chelsea will be in less trouble because they self-snitched. Maybe they will get a big fine, maybe 5-10 points. Yeah, look, and some of the charges City are under is for not cooperating, and that's either going to go one way or the other. But it's interesting because Big Steve said this to me. Because the Premier League and the UEFA have asked to see the books, and we've said no because our lawyers have advised us to. That's either going to go their way or it's going to go against them. It's either going to be seen as, what are you hiding and you haven't cooperated, you're in more trouble, or, well, there's no proof, therefore do one. But look, if the regulators come in, that changes everything. Everton penalised for Chelsea and Man City. No, Everton haven't been penalised because City and Chelsea are potentially cheated. Like again, Everton fans keep doing this. Your situation's different from anything that any other club has done. The UK government has been threatening the Premier League to regulate them, and the Prem doesn't want that. So they are now policing harshly to prove to the government they can police it themselves. It's a fair point, to be fair. If City is guilty, just take away the title, starting with from the league, 130-point deduction, and from League One, and then 130-point reduction. If they are not guilty, City will be looked at with a sour taste in the public mouth.
Mm-hmm. Which obviously City not happy with, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Question: if Chelsea's project fails, like we all want, which team outside the top six can you guys see taking over City's position in the top six? Newcastle, isn't it?
Newcastle. There isn't really another one, lads. Newcastle.
Yeah, it's Newcastle.
It will just save Tottenham.
Have you heard of the Arsene Wenger offside rule? Is expected for the 20. Yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad. Do you know what's funny? You can still be offside. People go, "Oh, you won't be offside by a millimeter now." You will. You can be.
Same.
You
just moved the line up. He just moved the line up.
Yeah.
Understand what he did. Like he just moved the line up.
What I would say about the rule, fast players now. If you're caught offside now as a fast player, you need to be subbed off straight away because there's no need. You don't even need to be on the edge. You can just because you shouldn't be getting offside anymore. But there we go. 20 million over FFP, and it is a 10-point deduction. The Premier League was prompt against. Okay, I think we've already done that one. There. Show teeth against the little guy. Remember, Jerome, Chelsea haven't even been charged yet, and City's is huge, and it's going through a big tribunal. So it's a very different. Plus, by the way, Everton's losses happened ages ago. Isn't for like last season. It's been Everton's situation has been like 2 years in the making as well. 3 years in the making. So
it's 3 years in a row. Yes.
Yeah, it's taken a long time to get to this point. Resorting to rule violations in pursuit of victory is called cheating and warrants disciplinary action. City is guilty. If City is guilty, they should face the consequences, and I'm sure they will. Actually amazing. If City were found guilty and they cheated, Liverpool would have multiple prems, and they would be at the standard they would be the standard of owners. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we have to wait and see see the wood for the trees for that, because I also think there's a few gooners I follow that hate Arteta, and I think they're desperate for City to be found innocent. Otherwise, because they said Arteta, suddenly it changes your perspective on certain managers and were they really good or were they really bad if a team has cheated to get to where it's got to. But that's all pie in the sky until we know what's happened. City overstate its revenue, big crime, not Chelsea.
Chelsea are the ones that have self-reported themselves, Dinishine. So
yeah,
I'm not sure you got that one the right way. I mean, you might be right on City. Who knows? We'll find out. But Chelsea have self-reported for their crimes. So
Chelsea's ones are like, well, we've got to pay £30 million for this player, but we obviously can't afford to. So we'll do an offshore payment from an account to that club, 30 million, and we'll report the transfer as a free transfer. That is no different to increasing your revenue by £30 million. It's same topic, different rapidly. Question: what happens if Southampton and Leicester City's cases against Everton are successful? Will they get more points deduction? It's not about points deduction.
Administration.
Well, yeah, that could be sued for a certain amount of money, which could then send them into administration. The irony: FFP could actually make a club go bust. The irony.
That's what Leo was saying. That's what LB was saying. It's actually Everton. If they lose that lawsuit and get minus 300 million, I think that reaches the limit where now you'll have to take the club from the owners. You're done now. We're taking the club from you. You're done.
No, it's actually crazy when you deep that. Wouldn't Arsenal worry about FFP? Well, they said they're close to the limit of it, but again, maybe. I would have to look. The thing is, their owners can just pump in £100 million and it's sorted. City already doing what you are saying, Terry. I don't know what you're referring to, my bro. Sorry. Mendy is planning to sue Man City for years of unpaid wages.
Yes, just came up.
And he'll probably, I don't know the way the law works, but he was found innocent, wasn't he, of all charges, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but he was locked up.
Why would he sue City, though? City didn't lock him up.
Yeah. It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm not getting involved in that one. That's no. Juventus lost their titles. Why can't City?
Massive difference. Juventus were proven to bribe referees. So on the pitch, literally bribe referees.
It is different. Again, Gavin, it's different, but again, we don't know the severity of these. I mean, if it turns out that they've £1 billion put into a club that shouldn't over a 10-year period, and they argue that they're only able to build these great squads with that money, then you could argue them being taken away. If they end up being fined for like £5 million, if that's all it's for, that hasn't changed the grand scheme of things. So I think, Gavin, we have to wait and see, one, if they're found guilty, and secondly, the severity of it before we know. Like, yeah, we really do. I see Chelsea signing Usherman in the summer of 2024. You could be right, Kingsley.
Or anything.
No, you don't care. Do you think he'll join Chelsea if they're in the Championship? I don't know. Maybe it'll be interesting to see. Can you imagine the points total that City could get in the Championship as well? By the way, like genuinely, I reckon you could win 46 games out of 46. It'll be a laugh.
I actually think if City get relegated, I think the players will leave.
Of course they will.
Think they will stick.
No, they'll have to, because in the Championship there are limits to how much salary you can pay and how much losses you can make, and they would definitely make a loss because of there's no money coming in, so they have to sell people. But listen, that's all pie in the sky. Listen.